Welcome back. Let's talk about the state of the nation, Nigeria, and how citizens can better position themselves to hold the elected accountable. It's midterm. So we are simply saying it's 2 years down the line, officially in the month of May, since those who were inaugurated on May the 29th, 2023, came into power and assumed office. So how well and how good they fared. By next month, we'll be talking about the members of the National Assembly and members of the House of Assembly who were inaugurated as well. But we've been joined in the program by a legal practitioner, Chief Malcolm Omirabo. He joins us right here in our Lagos studio. Chief, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
I think that one of the best ways I think is great to start when we are assessing how well or not anyone is doing is to get your overview. So let's start with President Bola Tinubu. It's not hidden some of the steps he took that brought us where we are. Flotation of the Naira, removal of fuel subsidy, part removal of subsidy from electricity, or in that sense, I can go on, and the government will come and reel out some of the gains of those reforms, such as FX reserve, such as NEL funds, such as debt to revenue ratio, and the least, more revenue accruing to state, record high in terms of Naira terms. Those are the least. But on the other hand, the flip side is that Nigerians are in deeper pain today than they've been in a very long time, and businesses are shutting down, people are struggling. But generally, if you were to ask your assessment of President Bola Tinubu after 2 years in office, what would it be?
I must start first by saying that when he took over, the economy was in shambles. Buhari really did a bad job. For 8 years, Buhari took us 100 years back. For Tinubu, personally, it's my opinion, he's just marking time. He's marking time. We've not moved anywhere. Nigeria is floating. That's the truth. Nigeria is floating. You talk in the papers, or you write in the papers, or your ministers, they come and say, oh, especially Edu and Skadusu, they come and tell you, oh, the Naira is gaining this, that, the economy is the fourth fastest growing economy in the world. It's all paper. You don't see it on the ground. There is pain, there is hunger. There's no productivity, that's the word. One of the indices I would use to, here in Lagos, that I would use to score this administration a pass mark is when I go to Wharf, and I go to Ijora, and I go to the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway, and Ilupeju. Those are industrial estates where you have the industries. I grew up in Lagos. I knew what those places stood for. They stood for, you know, where people are gainfully employed, they earn a living and all that. If you go there, those places are being taken over by churches, event centers, hoodlums. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. So economically, the government has been rash in taking steps. For instance, the removal of subsidy. Which other one again?
The floating of
the Naira. Tinubu just treats Nigerians like patients, operating on them without aesthetics, without giving them injection without giving them pain relieving injections. You just bring them to the theater and butcher them and say, oh, stitch them up and say, oh, fine, you're looking good. Okay, move, jump. Let's see whether you're okay. We've done well. He's too rash. He's not taking it step by step. He's not real. That's the truth. He's not real. So I will not score this government any pass mark. In terms of economic gain, I will not deceive anybody, and I will not deceive myself especially. Nigeria is not doing well. We are pretending until one day we will just wake up and see that we will collapse. There's nothing happening. The government is not doing anything. And what pains me most is that the government put people around him who don't tell him what is really happening, like the Boalas, like the Keyamos, like the Edu, Cardoso, you know, all these propagandists. People, they just start telling you every time. In fact, the only reason why anybody will remain in the cabinet of Tinubu is when you can tell lies, when you can come to the public, keep a straight face and tell lies and say, oh, we are doing well. Every time the government is doing well, only on paper. We are not seeing anything on the ground.
They may be uncomfortable with you referring them to propagandists because they say they are doing their job in representing the government. But where my follow-up will be, but they are putting out, they said, the argument is to the effect that before it gets to the micro level, where it is you and I feeling better, is they say it has to start from that macro level, setting the reset of the economy. I'm putting out the argument of the government so that you can respond. So, okay, they came in, the FX, for instance, there were backlogs in terms of payment, and then if you look at all the subsidies that were supposed to be paid, from 6 in PMS, I think another 2 in electricity, and then there were a couple of backlogs. Everything came to about 21 trillion in that sense, and if you add the deficit, so the numbers are good, were not good. So they said if the Tinubu administration did not do what it did, the economy would have tanked by now, so they had to do a hard reset in that sense. So we should be patient that this is a temporary gain for a future gain, temporary pain rather for future gain. Does this argument and this narrative, does it make sense to you?
That's sweet nothing. You know, they like too much grammar. They want to confuse us. Look, if whether macro or micro, no, by now, 2 years, it will have been trickling down. You see, what pains me most is that they are not prudent. They are not prudent. An economy that is bleeding, you spend millions, several millions of naira to renovate the residence of the vice president. You spend several millions or billions of naira to refurbish the conference center. Who is going to conference center? Look at Akpabio's recent visit. You may say the money is small. It's not small. A five-man delegate. Something that Akpabio could have gone alone. You have ambassadors around Europe there. You have Nigerian community. If he needs support, when he lands Rome, he can invite 1 or 2 ambassadors around that area, or even Nigerian dignitaries in Rome that will accompany him. Tell me how much we have saved. I dare Akpabio, you should tell us how much was, the federal government should tell us how much Akpabio spent on that trip. So they are not showing signs of people who really feel our pain. They are not showing signs of that they are doing anything. They are not honest. All they are interested in, they are talking about just power. They are already talking about 2027, election to come back to power, when they have not even shown any sign of growing the economy or even stabilizing the economy. They have not shown any sign. So whatever they are telling you, macro, 2 years is enough for us to see the gains. 2 years is enough for us to start feeling it. Price of foods is going. The other day, I went to a fast food outlet. I discovered that I couldn't finish my meal, and I now took it, paid for a pack, took it to the office. And when I was going home, because I'm not trained to waste food. I want to take it home, but there was vegetable inside it. I want to take it home, but unfortunately I forgot it on my table. I asked the next morning, I now called my secretary. I said, but when I came back, I said, I hope you didn't eat that food because it must have become spoiled by that time you came. She said no, that she wanted to dispose it and somebody just grabbed it from her and started eating it. I felt so touched. I'm not saying even in America people don't eat from the dustbin or whatever, but it's not common in Nigeria. growing up in Nigeria, it's not common. Everybody had enough. Everybody, the cleaner had enough. The policeman had enough. The Nigeria I grew up in. The lawyer, everybody had enough. Now people have nothing. People now feeding from dustbin, feeding life.
We hope that those times that you speak of will return, but we tend to look at the federal government and, with less focus on the subnationals, where some activity is supposedly ongoing as well. And we could refer to savings from the policy of this administration, which is fuel subsidy removal. We could also even refer to the interventions that the federal government has provided at the onset of the Tinubu government, the 5 billion naira subsidy palliative fund released to state governors. 3 billion was the first part that was released. We could talk about 50% increase in allocations to the subnationals from subsidy savings. We could talk about 108 billion naira that the federal government released to the state governments as an intervention fund to tackle climate change challenges and other challenges as well. So what do you see, as what should be ongoing at the subnational level, to reduce the impact of the excruciating policies of this administration? Have they been judiciously, allocating budgets to the right sectors that need it for growth?
Well, like I said earlier on, the government made a very bad economy, and they are marking time. That's any mediocre mark time. Any mediocre, any reasonable, and the average, yes, below average. What they're doing is, we don't expect below average. We don't expect them to say we're doing our best. This is not what they told us. This is not their manifesto. You understand? Yes, they've provided all these things, but then there's no subsidy. Where are the SS? Definitely, they made so much money from us by removing the subsidy. I mean, when this government came to power, they had, fuel was about 200 and something per liter.
Less than 200.
Now we're buying 900. And so where are the SSs? Of course, definitely there will be money to do all these things. And for our sacrifice, we expect more. So where is the balance from this subsidy, all this sacrifice, diesel, kerosene, and all that? Where are the SSs? Okay. Now they meet up this, they give these allocations. Yes, I give it to them. They give these allocations. The issue is the follow-up. Are they judiciously utilized? Like the governors, for instance. Are these monies judiciously utilized? So these are the issues. They need to be follow-up. It's not when there's a small problem you go and create a state of emergency. Follow up these things. You're the federal government.
All right, let's look at what would be the options to the people if the performance of the elected representatives is non-satisfactory. And I'm talking, this gale of defections that we're witnessing now. Even governors are defecting, and we've been told that there may be more defections in that space. But look at the National Assembly. We now have about 65 APC senators, 33 PDP senators. I wonder if we still have senators from the other smaller parties. Let's look at the impact of that. Talk to us about the impact of that on policy and governance, with the APC dominating, and with the possibility of more defections to the APC, and especially against the backdrop of the case of Atiku against the Attorney General of the Federation, which now applies to legislators at the federal level, that sort of gives them the go-ahead to defect as against legislators at the State Assembly. Does that precedent, is it appropriate in the light of the current circumstances, where we may be having a challenge of having a Senate that dominates, the ruling party dominating the National Assembly?
Well, talking about this mass defection from other parties, particularly PDP and Labour Party, to APC. Well, legally speaking, on the normal level, governors or lawmakers are permitted to defect from their party to other parties, but there must be good reasons why. Now, why are the question you ask, why are they defecting from their party to APC? Is it based on ideology? Is it based on principle? Is it based on that the government is doing well? Is it based on the interest of the people who gave them the mandate? When you look at all these things, you discover that the basic reason why they are defecting is fear. Most of these governors, like my state governor, Delta State, they moved massively, or en masse, to PDP, APC, about 2-3 days ago. I can tell you, I'm from that state, that it's not in the best interest, not for the interest of Deltans, it's for the interest of politicians who are trying to conceal their loots, who are afraid of prosecution. This government has failed in terms of their fight against corruption. And for them to gain public trust, corruption must be tackled. And this government is corrupt. I mean, there's a lot of corrupt people there. There are, or will I say, people who have allegedly, defrauded their state. Akpabio is one of them.
Allegedly?
Allegedly, I said allegedly, yes. You know, many of them. So they have not been able to follow. So these people are coming, even Okowa and Co. They are coming there to hide, because there's a popular saying in Nigerian political landscape that once you come to River ABC and you are baptized there, all your sins are forgiven. So people are not deflecting based on ideology. They are deflecting based on personal interest, fear of being prosecuted, and they will be covered. Definitely.
Our colleague Kayode has some questions for you from Abuja. Kayode.
Perhaps to just follow up on what you said just previously, what proof or what conviction do you have as a legal practitioner to back up that allegation? Because it's okay to say allegedly, but sometimes so people understand also where you're coming from, the context. Perhaps you have proof and convictions as it concerns the courts to back that up for the benefit of Nigerians.
On the particular character or person I mentioned, Akpabio, like I said, allegedly, and it's been reported severally, that EFCC have a case file on him, even when he was about to be appointed or was elected a senator, and they were screening him for position of Senate President. EFCC came out with they were going to arrest him. So I don't know how that was swept under the carpet. So I'm not here to prove. Hold on. I'm not here to prove. I'm not in a law court. I said allegedly, and I'm quoting. I can defend it based on EFCC's will I say, investigation, which was being carried out. And there were petitions from his state. What can be more? There are petitions from his state. Even, forget about that. Hold on, let me land. Let us even go to the issue when he was the chairman of NDDC, or what do you call it? Niger Delta Development. He looted that place blue and black, I can say that. Have you forgotten the off the microphone scenario in the Senate when the allegation was levied against him, and he was not telling the lawmakers who he gave contract. I saw that myself. He told one of the lawmakers told them, "It's enough of the speaker. What can be more than that?" Is it only Akpabio? There are many of them there. In fact, the National Assembly is a home for not retired, looters.
Allegedly, sir.
Allegedly.
So,
If you
All
want,
right,
if you
you
invite
said
me
there are
on,
others.
invite me on another
Who are
program,
the others?
invite me on another
No,
occasion.
it's okay.
And I
You said there
on
are
this
more
issue,
people.
invite
Pardon
me again,
pardon me if
and I will give you all those things. I will write here FCC. I will bring all those things to you.
Mr. Mirabo, if you can hear me.
I can.
So you said there are others, and it's important to speak in the context. That's why I said, what are the convictions to back this up? Because you can't say someone is guilty until there's
I didn't say they are guilty.
You know that too well. So who, you said in matter of fact, so who are the others that you know about? What is the context? What is the proof as well? So we can lay all the cards on the table.
Well, I have told you, and I maintain that in the National House of Assembly, where you have in fact, all the ex-governors that are there, I can say confidently that they are allegedly corrupt and they have skeleton in their cupboard, and they need to be investigated and prosecuted if this government is serious, but it will never happen. All the ex-governors, all the former, even those who are, who have served as, or who are still serving as senators, House of Reps, who are there today, they are also allegedly corrupt. I'm telling you categorically, I won't mention names, but I am telling you categorically that the National House of Assembly is a home for, I won't say, if I use the word criminals now, you will say I've said something that is not allegedly. Allegedly, people who have looted this country. Allegedly, people who are responsible for our suffering today. I can tell you that our suffering today is being caused by the ex-governors. All the ex-governors. Where are all the monies they gave them?
Right.
Like, okay, my state governor, for instance, he is not there. But for instance, he has not been able to account for our revenue derivative allocation every month. He has not been able to. He has not been able to. Our internet generated revenue, he has not been able to account for them for 8 years. He has a case of 1 point something trillion naira on his head right now.
All right, let me put this in quickly so we can touch on other point. So would you also say the judiciary, as you put it, is allegedly corrupt? The bar, the bench is allegedly corrupt as well? Because we've heard that time and again.
You're correct, because it's not me. There's a report. I can't recall the exact report now. There's a report that said the Nigerian judiciary is fantastically corrupt. I am not saying I said so. There's a report on that. And I'm not saying that there are no good judiciary officers, I mean judges. I'm not saying they are not good, but we have bad eggs, like in every other organization. So the lawmakers, the judiciary, the executive, I say categorically that they don't try.
Okay, so let's try to round off as quickly as possible. First is, what do you expect the citizens to do? Because that's a fundamental question.
Before then,
if in your books, judiciary has a question to answer, the National Assembly has a question to answer, all of these guys have a question to answer, and which is what has brought us here. Some have been convicted, some have not been convicted, some have not been tried, and all of that. What should the citizens do? Because we're the ones that are suffering at the end of the day.
The citizens, of course, which I'm part of, I feel sorry for us because we have been, like somebody said, that we've been hypnotized. We're in trouble because our votes don't count. If after spending 100 billion, 900 billion,
no, not up to that.
Then, as at that time, for the last election.
Elections.
Yes.
About 300.
No, billion.
Yes.
Okay, 300 billion. And somebody comes to tell me that because of some glitches, we cannot assess our result on real time. Then you now go and start collating. In this modern time, we stand no chance. We stand the electorate, but I will still appeal that they should not give up, or we should not give up. We should pick up our PVC, vote, and defend it to the best of our ability. But we are fighting against, we are fighting against, our situation is precarious.
All right.
And the only thing that may result is a spontaneous revolution, which is going to be disastrous for us. It's going to be catastrophic for everybody.
And that's another matter entirely.
Yes.
But when you say the judiciary is allegedly corrupt, the lawmakers are allegedly corrupt,
yes,
there are those who defend them, which is lawyers who defend them in court. So I'm wondering if you agree also that your constituency is also allegedly corrupt. But let's recall, this would be a good time to recall your advocacy in court sometime further down back, maybe 2 years ago, when you went to court rather in traditional attire. We'll take that and then we'll come back to you for your reaction.
Okay, so what we're saying is this is just coming on a lighter note. So what informed, because I know that I think, is it Justice in Okoro now? Is it John Okoro? I've forgotten one of the justices.
Okoro.
John Okoro was the presiding judge at the Supreme Court, and then they showed up for proceedings. And this is you.
Yeah.
Looking like what Nigerians would call a native doctor, combining traditional attire with your legal attire in that sense, or lawyer's attire, and then the Honorable Justice had to abandon proceeding. What were you trying to achieve with this?
Well, they're just trying to make a point that I disagree with the judgment of the Supreme Court. Justice Okoro was right in his dissenting judgment that you don't mix religion with state. And I have a case coming up next month challenging the former Inspector General of Police changing the uniform of Nigerian police women to for them to use hijab. We're in court already on that, and we're still protesting because, to me, Nigeria is a secular state. Nigeria anything government or state should be devoid of religion. I can be a traditionalist, you can be a Muslim, the other person can be a Christian, and all that. Let's live in peace. When you get to your work, keep all your. How would you feel if I came here and I would tortoise on my neck, beads everywhere, then what do you call it, palm wrap or whatever, and I come and looking, to you, I look
like a native doctor.
Like a native doctor, and you will be scared, you won't sit down. And somebody is putting a hijab, and the other person is putting a Aladura cap. The other person, how is it going to? So
this was you making a statement that leave religion out of.
Yes, and I'm saying that the judgment, in a way, that's not the best way to protest as a lawyer, but as a citizen.
Okay.
Protest that.
Were there consequences for what you did? Were you reprimanded?
By the bar.
I was sued. I was Murik.
No, I'm talking about the bar, not.
Okay, no, it took me to disciplinary committee that, and I told him there's no basis for his complaint, and the bar knew I didn't do anything.
So there was no consequence.
No consequence.
All right, Chief Malcolm Omirobo is a legal practitioner and like a literal outlier in that sense of what you did there, just to make your point. But we must thank you for coming on the program.
I appreciate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Happy. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to the next leg of the conversation.